I this talk, it was kind of a struggle for me because I go through this every day with the surrender, and I'm sure everybody who's a praying person and praying for things, you're going to always have to surrender. But this is going to be a different twist to it. And it might challenge you with the way you pray, and you may not like it because you can't be in control with it humanly. So that can be like an issue. I named it Get Your Feet Wet, and I took it from the perfect story in the Old Testament is in Joshua 3, when the Israelites were 40 years in the desert and they're just getting really tired of it. And finally, they're getting the news. They get to go to the promised land. Yahoo! So the priests are the ones who's carrying the Ark of the Covenant, and they're going first. And they get to the Jordan River because across is the promised land. But lo and behold, the Jordan River is flooding, and it's just crazy water, and it's dangerous. And what do these priests do? So God tells them, get on in, get your feet wet. So they don't think about it. They don't think this could kill me. There'd be crocodiles in there. This is dangerous stuff. They have the faith to get in the water, and as soon as their feet get wet, it clears up, the water stops, and the Israelites go in the promised land. Well, how does that relate to you? So there's two ways, wrong ways, when you're praying related to this story that can really help you. You can be passive with your prayers, and you can sit back and pray for something and go, well, do your magic, Lord, and don't do nothing, and you just wait. And you don't do nothing, and you wait. And you don't do nothing, and you wait. And your feet are dry. Or the next wrong thing, which I like to do, you can be in control, and you can push forward on your own strength and just blow it. And then what you're praying for is a worse situation than what you started off. So then, where is the balance with that? How do you pray for surrender with that balance? And there's two scriptures that can be kind of confusing, but actually they work together. In Psalm 27, wait for the Lord and be strong and take heart. Okay, so you're waiting. Ezra in 10:4, rise up, this matter in your hands, we will support you, so take courage and do it. So pretty confusing. Do you just kind of hang with the dry feet, or do you just push through? So there's always this tension when you pray. So what I'm challenging you to do, and for me to do, is to surrender, but surrender the outcome of your prayer. So if you're praying for something, humanly, we're like, Lord, I want this, and I would like it to be like this and this. And then you pray for it. But that is not surrendering, because you're putting your whole ideals on what you want the outcome to be. So if you surrender the outcome to the Lord, and you pull in, and you pray, then you take the action, and He will show you what the next step is. But the most difficult part with that kind of prayer, when you surrender, you don't get the whole picture. Like, okay, so I'm supposed to make that call. Okay, I'm supposed to go for that job interview. Okay, I'm supposed to make that text. I'm supposed to go to that person and ask for reconciliation. But I wanted the outcome over here. Well, God doesn't work like that. He wants you to surrender and take action and do a step. And then after you do that step, He's going to show you the next step and the next step. We never know the whole picture. If you're doing it that you're not in control and you're not manipulating and you want to go from A to Z. And I've been praying on this one situation, which is like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting any much answers. And I'm like, why not, Lord? Because I had in my head what I wanted it to be over here. So I'm doing the surrender the outcome, and every day the Lord's giving me little insights on what to do on the situation, and it's threading up. And normally I don't surrender. I just say, well, I surrender, Lord, whatever you want. So it's trusting, and it's when you surrender the outcome, it gets you out of the fear mode, because when you're surrendering and giving it to the Lord, it gives you that hope of what he is going to do for you next, not what you're going to do next. And sometimes you're like, well, I don't know if I'm hearing that correctly from God, and I don't know if that was the next step. Well, then get someone who's a prayerful person and bounce it off. Does this feel like this is from God? Brian and I will do that. Like, he'll bounce off something. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. You're right in that emotion. Don't even say that to that person. You'll blow it. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're okay, I'll pull in, or I'll wait a day. Or and I'll do the same thing. I'll run by, I feel like God's telling me this. And sometimes I'm spot on, but sometimes if you do it right in the emotion of what trauma you're going through, whether it's lost job and divorce, or a rejection on you, or a relationship that fell apart, and you're in that emotion, I guarantee you might blow it with how you're going to respond. If you can pull in, ask the Lord, I'm surrendering the outcome, because you can take care of how this situation is going to work, but give me the action plan. I need the action plan. And it may be the tiniest thing. And if you're going, well, I don't hear from God about that, well, then he's probably already told you the action plan, but you're not doing it. Or the action plan can be pretty frightening humanly, like, well, I don't want to face that person. Well, I don't want to tell them I'm sorry. Or, even if you're having a big disagreement with your spouse, like, no, I don't want him to think that he was right. It can be scary with the action plan. But if you're surrendering to the Lord, following the baby steps on it, doing the action, and when you do the action plan, your brain loves it, because the neuroplasticity of it, it gives you the strength, and it makes these wonderful, deep areas in your brain that the next time you have to take a step, you can do it when you take that first step, because you have trust in the Lord. It gives you hope. I don't know if that makes sense. And a great thing to do is in fact, I did it today with something I'm working on. Write it down, just one sentence, whatever you're working on. Get it off your body, get it off your brain, get it off, the ruminating, thinking about it all day and I can't sleep. Write it down, because your brain loves that too, because it gets it off and it's in black and white. Then do a little surrender prayer. Lord, I surrender the outcome. Show me the action plan that I'm supposed to do. Then the hardest part, because it can be pretty scary, what he says, you got to take action. You have to take action. Well, go for that interview. Go to that, talk to that person. Go to that one doctor that you've been putting off. And it may be the tiniest little action plan that he gives you, but follow through it, because it builds. It builds for what he's doing. It's like a patchwork quilt. And then I just think, boy, with a classic example with that Jordan River, like, oh my gosh, they could have died going through that water, because it didn't stop and then they stepped into it. It was rushing. I mean, it's a classic example of surrendering and following, because they could have died. But they're like, okay, we hear from God. We are going to go into this water that's torrential and coming in flood levels. And so they're obedient. They wet their feet. Oh my gosh, can you imagine their eyes, and it just dries up? The trust that they must have built, and the hope, promised land. Well, what is your promised land that you're working to? What can you do with what God's calling? It may be the most humble thing that he's asking you to do on the action plan, and it'll build up. And I was thinking in my life, the biggest one, and I didn't even know about, I knew about surrendering, but not, I always want to know the end, and I always give God in the past, like, I want it, do this, this, and this, and then we'll pray, because I love to control things. But during spiritual walk, that just doesn't work. I've blown a lot of situations with opening doors that should have been closed. But the tragic thing in my life, and I won't get in the story, when a tragic death of my brother and his 2 small kids, it's like, what do I do with that? Like, I'm so raw. What kind of action plan do I do with that? And I could have just paralyzed myself, got totally fearful, got all weirded out with my own kids, and just the whole mindset could have just got you so whacked out. So I was like, okay, after I did my grieving and got a little bit of a rhythm and not doing that right in the rawness of grief, I go, you know what? I want to do, I have small kids, so I can't do a whole lot. I want to do bereavement work. I want to give people who have loved ones who are dying, I can volunteer and I can bring the kids to brighten their day. And then those caretakers can go out and I can give their family a couple hours break. So it's like, that was my giving because of what I went through. And then after the kids got a little older, this is just the thread. I felt the Lord saying, you know, go. I had nursing in background, but it goes, go for chaplaincy. Like, it would be so beautiful to give spiritual care to hospice patients. And that was all because of my brother and the kid's death. It's like, yeah, I want to do that. I can go back and do some classes and stuff. So then I did that, and I tell you what, I got more out of it than working with those people. It was just such a spiritual walk for me. So then that built on this thread that the Lord was doing something in my life. So then I'm doing that, and then as it goes on, and then the Lord's speaking, oh, you should just do spiritual direction. Go for a program for that. Then I go for a program for that. And then I incorporated it with the chaplaincy, and it just kept building and building. And then we're like, Brian's on a sabbatical leave from the diaconate. It's like, oh, let's have a prayer group in our house because you're just like doing nothing here. So he's like, yeah. And I wanted to get him motivated. He was in a bad depression. It's like, so we started this prayer group in our house. It's like, well, who knew? I didn't know. Well, we're going to have a healing on Schaefer's Parkway and Padre Pio Center, and this is why I'm doing all this. Just do the action plan. Do the action plan. So you step forward, and then that built and that built. Well, it's like, oh, we're going to build a barn because we used to be in a barn. That's our action plan. Well, God's like, you know, we worked on that for who knows how long. God's like, we're not building a barn. You have it all wrong. So it's just like, you're going to go buy this building. You don't have to build this thing for 50 million years. So see how that all built through the life. It's like a tapestry because the key is to be obedience with the action plan God has with you to do that. I just talked to my brother-in-law yesterday, who's Brian's sister who passed 9 months ago. And he's following an action plan. He's like, it's really, really hard losing Lenny. But I'm getting my head above water. And you know what? When I went to these grief classes, they want me to teach these grief classes. I go, oh my gosh, Jerry, there's your mission. There's your mission that through your suffering, you're going to step forward and help these people who have lost a loved one. Like, they take a tragedy, oh my gosh, and he's being obedient. And he's going forward, and all that suffering he's gone through, he's going to give to people to help them. So I just challenge you, whatever you're going through, it can be just a small thing or it can be a big tragedy. Don't pray don't pray that you have all the answers. Just pray for the day and what the Lord wants you to do today to lead up to where he's leading to, whether it's a healing or relationship or job or finances or the zillion things we all go through. And you will be blessed. You won't be in fear. You won't have anxiety. You won't be ruminating because you will have hope because you're being obedient and following the little threads to the big picture that God has that we don't need to know because God is God and he's going to take care of you. So get your feet wet. Amen.